What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down a great wide receiver press release move that you can use off the line to get faster and that no DB can cover if used properly. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you struggle in how to structure your on-field workouts, how many sets, how many reps you should do, what drills you should be doing to work on the different concepts we cover, check out that very first link in the description below where you can get access to a 4-week daily wide receiver on-field training schedule. We break down over 100+ wide receiver drills that you guys can do. We map out the exact sets and reps, show examples of the drills, the works, all mapped out for you, ready to go. So if you want some more information on that, how you guys can get access to that, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. Alright guys, so this first move that we are going to be talking about today is going to be a kick step off of the line. So if you're not familiar with the kick step, this is a great move to be able to generate more explosion off the line and help you sell your releases with your hips and cover more ground off of the line. So let's start out with just basic press coverage principles. So if the DB is guarding you, he's matched up man coverage right in front of you. Where are his eyes supposed to be? His eyes are supposed to be at your hips, right? That's where he's trying to stay disciplined. He's trying to watch your hips because your hips are going to dictate to him where the route is going. Now as a wide receiver, I can almost reverse engineer that to help me get space off the line by selling the route with my hips. But it's very hard to do that sometimes when you come off the line with a position of no momentum, and that's where this kick step comes into play. So a kick step is, for example, you get off the line, let's say this white line's the line of scrimmage. A kick step is where you're taking your back foot and you are kicking behind your front foot. Now, a lot of people will say that this is a false step. It is a false step if this is a zone coverage situation, but if it's press, maybe you have about a yard of space, this kick step is a great way to load up almost with your hips to get some more explosion and to sell the release, okay? So again, it is not this big over-exaggerated step. A lot of people think on this kick step, I'm saying to go this big step and then go into your release. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want it to be a quick step. You load up your hips so you can throw your hips into a certain press release. Now, I'm gonna give you guys some different press releases that you can use off of this kick step in a second, but I wanna make sure that we break down the technique of it. Now, do you wanna use this? Let's say you come up to the line and you got a DB who's right here, right in your face. Do you want to do this? Probably not, because when you kick your feet behind, that can be a little bit off balance. It's great for explosion and it allows you to throw your hip to step outside of a DB's frame if he's got some cushion, or maybe it's a great move to use to attack his leverage and get into his frame. But if he's right in your face, we do not want to use this. So again, to recap, the whole reason we use this release is for speed. And if you guys don't believe me with this release, I suggest we try it, because everybody at first is a little hesitant, feels a little uncomfortable, but trust me, fellas, this slight kick loads your hips and will allow you to gain ground, shoot off the line, and now we're going to talk about some different releases you can use with that kick step. Alright guys, so now before we get into these different press releases that we're going to talk about that you can use with the kick step, there's another version of this kick step that maybe is a little bit more comfortable for some people, and some people actually prefer this over the kick step, but it does the same exact things and it accomplishes the same exact things. So what was the whole reason we did that kick step in the first place, right? Like, let's say I got a DB who's head up in press, maybe there's about a yard of space and I want to run like an inside release. I want to take an inside release on a route, right? So I use that kick step to be able to throw my hip, cover more ground, and actually threaten him to the outside with some speed, right? Now, a lot of times the whole reason we do that kick step is because it's hard to do that when you come out of a stance and you're flat-footed. You have no momentum and you just try to step there. Sometimes it's very, very difficult, and against a disciplined DB, not only do we need to sell the move, but we need to have some speed to be able to threaten him, right? So this next move that's very similar to the kick steps, the exact same thing, is called a prep step. So a prep step is something you would do with your front foot. So instead of kicking behind, you take your front foot and you literally just pick it up and put it down in place. So it serves as like kind of a explosive jab, if you will, to push into the move. So like, let's say the release I was showing you a second ago was like this kick step into a wide step, right? So let's say you wanted to use a prep step, you would just pick up this front foot and put it down and push off of that front foot, creating that explosion, creating that momentum by taking that quick prep to help you sell to the outside. So again, prep step is another version of that kick step. It accomplishes the same thing. It will help you gain more ground, sell the release more, and have more speed, not coming off the line just flat-footed. Now we're going to get into some releases that you can do with those moves. Alright guys, so the first release that we're going to be talking about off of this kick step or this prep step is going to be a crossover release. So I like this against either a head-up coverage DB who's maybe got a yard of space, or inside leverage press coverage where there's maybe, again, a yard of space and we have to threaten him to the inside. So let's say, for example, he's inside shade press. So I come up to the line, I come to the line of scrimmage, I'm gathering that plan, I'm gathering info on a DB, he's inside shade, right? So let's say I have to run a route like a fade, an out route, a comeback, something breaking to the outside. You do not want to just take off the line of scrimmage and just take off and go run. right? Because that DB, when he's inside shade, his whole goal is to prevent the inside route and force you to the sideline. So if he gets hands on you and just walls you to the sideline, the route's over. Even if it's a fade, it's over. So you have to threaten his leverage to the inside to get him to move, to create more space for you back to the outside. So that's what this crossover move is going to do, building off the kick step. And I'm going to show you how it's going to look full speed as well. So we come off here. All we are doing is we're taking that subtle kick step. It's a quick step. It's here. It's one. Hard jab, two to the inside to threaten his leverage, and then we burst up and attack to the outside, or work to the outside, I should say. Now, when we do this kick step, it's obviously for explosion. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create explosion. Now, this first step, you do not want to be super wide with it, because if you step super wide, it is very hard to push and sell to the inside. The second part of this move, or the most important part of this move, is the second part of this release, second part of this move, if you will. So it's got to be a quick kick, quick first step, heavy second step to threaten that leverage, to get him to move, set you up for space to the outside. I'm going to show you how this release is going to look. Full speed again, kick step into a crossover release. All right, guys, so this next release we're going to be talking about is a kick step into a slide and go release, okay? So remember, the whole reason we use that kick step in the first place, right? That kick step is for us to get a little bit more speed off the line and for me to be able to get some more ground off the line, to cover some more ground, right? So a slide and go release is a great release to use this kick step because we need to gain ground on it. So let's say, same scenario that we had on the last example. We got inside shade press. DB's goal, inside shade press, is to do what? Prevent the inside route, force me to the outside. Now, the only way to get separation is not, oh, let's attack him and then go outside. I feel like that's the easiest way, and I feel like that's the most common way used, but sometimes we can try to hesitate to the outside, get him to sit inside, expect a slant, expect an inside breaking route, then go. Try to get his feet to stop, and that's where this slide and go release happens. So DBs are taught that when you're inside shade, if you see a wide receiver kind of slide to the outside, sit there, because expect him to try to cut back underneath. So we can use that again to our advantage, to reverse engineer that. So I come off here, DB's inside shade. This kick step is great because if you guys slide flat and then try to take off, you're not closing any kind of space with the DB, and he could just take an angle, recover, and beat you to the spot pretty much. You have to gain some ground. You have to almost attack at like a 45-degree angle to make him commit. He could either jump or he could either sit, and then we could take off. So that's where the kick step comes into play. So I come out here, use that kick to throw your hip. I want to gain ground. I'm here, I kick behind, I gain ground, and then I just take off and go. I'm going to show you how this thing's going to look full speed, but that kick step into a slide and go release is a great release to utilize that kick or that prep step. All right, guys, so another great release to be able to use this kick step on is going to be something called a diamond release, okay? So a diamond release, you guys all probably have heard this before. I'm going to break it down real quick just so it's a good refresher for some of you that maybe aren't as familiar with it. So a diamond release is something you would use, like I come up to the line, same scenario that we just had. You have inside shade press, and you have to run a slant route. So if he's inside shade press, remember, his goal is to stop this slant. So my goal can't be, oh, I'm going to attack him and then just try to cross his face and run. A good DB is never going to let that happen. What we have to do is we have to try to self-fade. We have to be able to self-fade for 3 hard steps on like a 45-degree angle, which is why they call it a diamond release, because it kind of looks like how you would draw a diamond, if you will. For 3 hard steps, try to get his hips to open up so I could throw by and slip back underneath and run a slant. Now, remember the whole purpose of the kick step. The kick step was for speed and to help us gain ground, which are 2 things that will actually help us self-fade on a route. So I come off here, I don't want to take 3 choppy steps, because that's not going to get a DB to commit. I don't want to come off the ball and take, let's say, for example, 3 slow steps, because that's not going to get the DB to commit. I need 3 hard steps, gaining ground, full stride. And that's exactly what that kick step does for my release. So we come off here, inside shade, we're attacking his outside shoulder and hip. We kick behind, kick, 1, 2, 3, put the brakes on, and then slip back underneath. So a kick step is a great release to use on a diamond release. I'm going to show you how this is going to look full speed. All right, guys, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a full 4-week on-field wide receiver workout plan that you can follow with the exact drills to do, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.